So last week has been really busy as we had organized a seminar on AI in healthcare. And during the event, I saw that my phone was constantly ringing. It was not only about the guests, but there was one client who was calling me non-stop, and I literally had to message him that Robert, I'm gonna call you back. But he instantly messaged me back, I really need your help. I do not know what to do from here. Please call me. Well, as it sounds, it was a panic time, and I had to rush out and call him because I have been handling his licensing processes for his clinic. He's building a very nice clinic in Dubai, and it's been handled by some other construction company who's doing the fit out. However, we have been handling the whole licensing process for this clinic. So, as promised, I called back Robert and I was also very curious to know that what is the panic all about. And when he answered the phone on the other side, he seemed to be totally devastated and he said, Paul, I'm stuck with the wrong company. I do not know what to do from here. Imagine you pay thousands of dirhams to a supplier and he turns off the phone on you and disappears, and your whole project is dependent on this supplier. What would you do? Well, this is the story of my client Robert, and how we handled this situation might be a help to many of you on what to do if you are in such a situation. If you're new to my channel, do follow me. My name is Siddharth Paul, and let's get into the story. So when I called up Robert, he was really nervous. He told me that, you know what, I had to launch this clinic 3 months back, but I'm literally stuck with the wrong company. Paul, I need your help. I do not know what to do from here. So Robert met me in my office the next day, and I calmed him down to start with. We had a coffee and I wanted to know what exactly happened because I started work with him almost 6 months back where we worked on his initial approval, his company set up, and we got him the initial license with the Dubai Health Authority in less than a week. And it's been almost 6 to 8 months, and still his clinic is nowhere ready, and he's still not applied for final approval. So I was also a bit intrigued at what's been happening. So he told me, Paul, like, you last visited my facility and you saw the whole fit out, everything is going fine. And I have been trying to cut costs and save my expenses wherever possible. And I made a blunder in same. Said, you know what? I'm happy with my interior designer who's doing my fit out. But the biggest mistake I made is that I have outsourced different things to different people. And someone is delaying my signboard, someone is delaying the other material, someone is delaying the sterilization area, the autoclave. So everything is in a mess. But the biggest of all, I had ordered one company to make the doors of different rooms, and they have indefinitely delayed my project. So of course I did not understand. I said, what do you mean that you have given an order for the doors to another company? So he says, well, since I have a company which is doing fit out for me, they're making the partitions and everything, but they couldn't make the doors. In fact, their doors were costing much more. So I outsourced the doors to another company, which seemed to be very professional, and they spoke very well, and they promised me that they would deliver the doors in 30 days. But it's already 2 months and still nobody's answering their calls when I'm calling them. And they gave me an invoice of Dubai, but I got to know they have a warehouse in Sharjah, the factories in Abu Dhabi. And how can I open a clinic without any doors in the rooms? So of course I understood the whole situation, and I asked him one question, that I hope you have the paperwork with this company. He says, yeah, I have the invoices and the agreement, but nobody is answering the numbers. So I said, let's go step by step in this process, because I know you're already drained off your resources. You have spent a lot on your construction. Your rent must be going on, and still your clinic is not ready. So we can go step by step. Have you had any formal communication with this supplier? And he said, yeah, I've been calling them up. So I said, no, this is not a formal communication. So we need to make a demand letter to them saying that we are running out of our resources, our rent is going on, and they are the reason because of which you are having such heavy financial losses. They need to deliver as per the commitment, and if they do not, then you would be forced to go with the legal action against them. as well as they will be paying for the legal penalty, the legal expenses, and all the extra rental they have been paying. And he was like, Paul, they're not going to reply because they're not answering my calls and everything. I said, just wait and watch. You have to go through a process. And this is the first step. So, first send them a demand email and then we take it up from there. So, he agreed. As it happens, we framed him a legal letter from our lawyers and he sent them an email. And I didn't hear back from Robert the next day. So, since I was in the case, so I called him up after 2 days and he says, you know what, Paul, the email worked. And they replied back and they sent me videos that they are working and they didn't want any kind of a legal hassle. And thanks for everything. So, still, I want to complete the process because this really worked for Robert and things started moving. But how do you move with something like this in future if it happens to any of us? Like you have a supplier, your project is dependent on this supplier, and your rental is ticking, and they are delaying things indefinitely. They don't have the courtesy to answer you on phone or email. What do you do in such a scenario? So I have made a step-by-step process what you can follow, God forbid if you are in such a situation. The first thing is, of course, everything has to be formal. So you need to collect all your documentation. That means there has to be a signed contract. You have to have a copy of their trade license. Be sure they are in Dubai, they are in Sharjah, they are in which part of UAE. So you have all the paperwork ready. Whenever you're giving an order, ensure you get an invoice, you get an agreement in place, and it's just not on face value. Once you have this, you are legally strong, first thing. Second thing is that if suppose someone stops answering to you, you try to call them, try to have a communication, but if it's not going well verbally or on the phone, the best practice would be to send them a legal email. If you go down to a lawyer, of course, they're gonna charge you a lot for the same. So you can draft a legal email through your consultant or yourself and send them the email. If they do not respond as per the stipulated time on the email, then the next step should be that you go to the consumer department of Dubai or whichever emirate you are in. Once you go there, this department has the power to call up and solve the dispute. And this would be a very substantial step in getting an answer where you stand with them. Now, in this case, if they do not answer and you feel that they have disappeared, then I would say it's a fraudulent activity and you need to complain to the police, because if it becomes a fraud that someone has taken money and they are not responding and they have disappeared, then it becomes a fraud. Then I would say you must go to the police and put a complaint. However, if they are responding and they're still delaying things, then and nothing is happening but your meter is ticking, I would say the best solution would be to look for another supplier, get your things rolling, but do not let this go in vain. You need to put a case on such people. If it's a small amount, then you can go for a small case tribunal and go to civil court and open up a case. And if it's a big amount, it's always advised to talk, send notice, go to the consumer court, and if nothing has happened, hire a lawyer and put a case on such a fraud supplier, because you need to get justice. If you are a business owner and God forbid something like this happens to you, do not wait for a miracle to happen. Take action, follow the steps I discussed in this video. They will really help you out in recovering all the money you gave to such a company. UAE is a fair country. You will get every penny back, and also you can claim a compensation and all the expenses incurred to you legally. Thank you for watching my video, and I sincerely hope it gave some meaningful information to you. Bye bye.